Hello and welcome to this retrospective. As I mentioned in the last one that I recorded, I was going to skip a few weeks because those retrospectives would be boring because I'm cleaning lots of stuff up after this whole year of my human in the loop experiment. And yeah, so that happened. I cleaned lots of stuff up. But one of the things that we did manage is I put my first what I call multimodal article up on digitizing events, which I'm going to link to in this retrospective. And when I say multimodal, you can basically read it like you would do normally. It has a video based teaser when you hover over it, which was something we did, I think, what was it, like a month ago? And then we have a an ability for you to listen to it, and the listening to it uses my text to voice, which I again built to have research read to me. So it uses that same function. And the way we built the listen to it is we tried to build it in such a way that it would be useful. And a bunch of things when I was looking at screen readers and so on that are inherently not useful, like using the alt text to read images. Alt text just describes, it almost feels like a placeholder most of the time where you go, oh, this image has some screenshots. So what? That's not going to be helpful. So what we used is AI in the pre-build to actually describe what the image is. In the example that we've got live, it'll say, now in the article, there is an image which shows screenshots of a checkout process happening inside ChatGPT, and it shows how it becomes useful. So that took a while. So in summary, I'm just saying that, like, again, it was relatively easy to get to that point. And I again looked at systems that could do that and say, how much would the subscription be? And you're looking at another £40 a month or something like that. And what I built, apart from what people used to call my sweat equity, is I think I worked it out. It's something ridiculous, like 2 cents article. As this is the last retrospective for the year, and I am going to continue these next year because I am actually really enjoying not only the exploration, but also enjoying the results. And I mentioned this earlier in another retrospective. I don't quite have a newsletter yet, but I'm starting to form an idea of what it would be. And we're now over 100 signups to a newsletter that doesn't exist. So something about this message of human in the loop AI, a symbiotic way of working, it seems to be resonating, and I can feel it myself. What everybody's saying, it may eventually replace a lot more jobs than we can imagine right now, but not in the short term. I've been talking to some other people, and I'm surprised about how much more I know. The point I'm making is it's such a level playing field. If you've jumped into this like 2 years ago, you're probably at the forefront of trying to figure out how this is going to work. You can see the bullshit that people are still spouting. And that is where I think the value is going to be around this exploration and what we're sharing on digitizing events. That said, I no longer question that you're going to have to work with this technology. What I do question is the how. And I think the how does have to be much more symbiotic and human centric. So just to sort of close off this, because again, the big win was building that multimodal article. And in my view, the experiment of digitizing events and saying, hey, how far can a one person take what would look like a traditional media business? I think that experiment has delivered probably the most value because I'm not just jumping around saying, hey, this is cool, let's try it. Here, this is cool, let's try it. I'm looking at those things, triaging them and say, can it be useful for digitizing events? So what I'm trying is something that has some business merit or commercial merit or potential commercial merit. So that I'm going to continue into 2026. Just say I think very interesting year. There's stuff coming down, which is probably going to shake things up. And I think this trajectory of me using these AI experimentations in a real world is teaching me so much more in terms of how it can be properly applied commercially. And it's teaching me so much more about how I could start to help other businesses in terms of their business transformation, because I have proven emphatically that the old digital transformation consulting thing just does not work without you understanding the commercial applications of AI and how to make them work. There is no way I can understand the nuances of every business. I'm sticking to my media and events as a framework, as a guiding, like triage, go, okay, concentrate on that. Even in media and in events, you have the same problem that every business has. What does audience acquisition look like now? What does personalization look like now? How do you repurpose content now that you can do a bunch of different things? What should you do and what shouldn't you do? Because doing things just because you can without understanding why is just stupid. I will see you on the retrospectives for next year, and next year is going to be much more about focus knowledge sharing. I have gone through, and there's like a year and a half worth of experiments that I've been writing up. So I'm going to be putting them out next year because I think there's value in those learnings. So everybody who's been following on these retrospectives, thank you. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for commenting. I really appreciate it. Have a great break. If you are having a break, if you aren't having a break, remember you need to take breaks. Thanks for watching.